welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Irma and you can find me on YouTube, Ravelry and Instagram as Wolwerkjes. Welcome to this space on the internet where I talk about all the things I make, mostly knitting, although the knitting content this week is a little low, but I did a lot of other things, so it will be fun to show you those. And just let's get started. I always start with what I'm wearing, so I will show you the handmade item I'm wearing today. I need to get up. It is this skirt. I didn't use a pattern. I had some leftover fabric from a trousers I made. It was a little too short, so I extended it with some lace I had also laying around. There is a invisible zipper at the side and it's just what it is. I gathered it around the waistband and that's it. I could have done a better job. It's not perfect, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out. So that's what I'm wearing today. It's really a lot of wind outside today, so when I'm going out I wrap a scarf or a shawl around, but I don't have it lying over here. I have a few options there. I really like the Kala shell I made out of Tesselse schaapwol. It's a Dutch sheep breed and it's really warm. I also really love my Wolwerkjes night shawl. I think that's my real go-to shawl, and I'm thinking about knitting another one. But that's a different story. So let's go into the things I have been working on the past few weeks. I did a little bit of knitting on my flex light. I'm not going to show it now because I'm still on the sleeve and I still haven't decided how I will finish the sleeve. So that's something I'm not going to show. I did start another little knitting project and it has no shape yet. I have to stuff it and I have to add the legs, but this, let's see if I can poof it up a bit. This is going to be a rabbit, a stuffed animal rabbit, and I think it's going to be really cute. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I will link it down underneath here. I know some people have trouble with Ravelry at the moment. It's something I can't fix and I don't know where to get patterns. Like all the patterns I use I got from there or from magazines, and I can't just change that now, so I will keep linking them because that's the place where I get my patterns, but I understand it's a little bit of a thing at the moment. So it's a free pattern and there are a few errors in there, not huge ones, but once or twice I was doing the thing they said and I was like, it doesn't add up for me, but I figured a way to go around that and it's just really cute. It is knitted flat, so you start at the nose and you use short rows and increases and decreases to shape everything. You add the ears later and you pick up stitches for the belly and then you knit it also flat and then you sew it together, you graft it together, and I think I did quite a nice job there. I don't think anybody who doesn't know where the seams are can see them, so very happy with that, and it will be a gift. I don't think it's a surprise, I don't think they're watching. It's for a really old friend I haven't seen in a really long time, but they got a baby somewhere in the last few months, and yeah, I thought I will send them a little present over the mail, so that will be really fun. I soaked this in hot water to make it shrink a bit. I hoped it shrunk a bit. It really didn't do that a lot, but there are some gaps at the places where you do decreases and increases. I'll always put a pantyhose inside it, and I will stuff the pantyhose instead of directly in the stuffed animal to make the fiber stay in there and not come out when children put their toys in their mouth and stuff. So it will be safe, but I hoped it would shrink in a bit, but it didn't really. But it also evens out your stitches when you soak your knitwear, so it's all good. I knit one front leg, and I need to make another one, of course, and the hind legs, and then I need to stuff it and graft it together and put the eyes on and stuff, and I think it will be really, really cute. I've crocheted, I think this is the first time I knitted a stuffed animal. I crocheted some. What I do find is that working in the round can be fiddly with those small circumferences, but this was all knitted flat. And I know not everybody is keen on grafting. I hated it when I started out knitting because it was something different than the craft I wanted to do. So that was knitting, and then I had to graft things together, and I didn't like that. But I started to see it as something that you need for finishing something, and it's part of the process. And since that I started appreciating it a lot more, and I enjoy doing it in a neat way. So yeah, to make the complete thing properly finished, and because you knit this flat, the knitting takes really just a few seconds. No, that's not true, but really less time than when you are fiddling in around with these small circumferences. So I think that was really smart. And the grafting is always a little bit fiddly, so that doesn't really mind for me if that's on a small circumference or on a really big piece. It's always fiddly. So I think it's really smart to make those toys knitted flat. Yeah, so I think, let me see, I think it should go here, and the hind legs will go there, and it will be dangling and stuff. I will, when I don't have it in the house next time, I'm not sure, maybe I've already sent it out, I will make sure to take a picture before I send it, because I think it will be really cute. So, other things I have been doing, I cleared out my crafting space. I don't know, people, I've talked about it before, I don't know that everybody has seen every video, so I will explain a little bit more. We have like a top floor, so we have the downstairs where you come in our house with the garden and stuff, and then we have 2 layers on top, and that's not common everywhere, but here in the Netherlands it's quite common to have 2 layers on top of your first floor, ground floor. I always forget how they call it in different languages. So we have 3 layers of living. First is just kitchen, living room, the dining table is there, and then you have a layer on top with the bathroom and the bedrooms. And we have 1 layer on top of that, and you can make separate rooms out of it if you want to, but we've not really done anything. We painted it white and we put a floor in there, but that's it. And the first years we lived here, it was just a space where we put everything we didn't really need, and once there were children in the house, it was really nice for us to use this space for our stuff. But it was all like just put in here, and we moved things around a few times, but it wasn't really working. My husband's workplace was also up here, and he plays music. He loves playing music, so we have like some instruments that need space, and I have my crafting that needs space. So it was always not working quite well, and especially in this time when everybody's working from home, I felt like I couldn't come here because he was working. So we changed things around in the house. He's working at our bedroom now, which is working fine. And I got a corner over here with all my craft stuff, and I went through all of it, and searched things out and organized things, so that took quite some time, and I will maybe put in a picture of the place now. I'm very happy that everything is up here and that I can go here without disturbing my husband working. It's really, really nice. So yeah, that took quite some time. And then you come over things that you want to use straight away. So I found fibre. I bought at a fibre event. Yeah, it was kind of a fibre event. And I bought a bag of, I think it was like leftovers, not really leftovers, but it was like different colors of green in a bag together, and I think the total amount was like 250 grams, and I came over it and I wanted to use it. So what I did is I used my blending board. I will put a little footage here of how I use my blending board. So what I did is I blended the colors from light to dark, but not like one bath only light and one bath only dark. I tried to make really like a soft gradient out of it, and I put some other fibers I had laying around in there as well. So I also had some blue fiber left over, and some white, and some cotton, which I don't appreciate spinning on its own. So I carded it through the fibers, the green fibers, and it worked out really well. And I got quite a lot of those bits of fluff now. I made 8, and they're not all the same weight exactly, but let me see if I can take out another one which is darker, like the last one. So you see there is color difference every bath. I think it's a bath. I don't know if I pronounce it right, but it's like a bath of fiber, I think you call it like that. So they're all really a little bit different in color, and they're going from light to dark. And yeah, I really like doing this, but of course I already wanted to start spinning it as well. So I did. I started spinning, and I already filled up one bobbin, and one day I will get a bobbin that's open on this side. Maybe just only for this purpose, because you can see the eyes outside and it's pretty. I really like it. There's sparkle in there and really a lot of different colors of green and white and blue, and it's really, really fun. But it started out way lighter at the inside, so where all the fiber is put around now. You can't see it, so you can only see the complete effect of this skein once it's off the bobbin. But you will see that another time. But I really enjoyed it. I tried to, my last spinning project was a 3-ply out of pure Gotland's fiber. And I spun it really, really thin because I knew I wanted to make a 3-ply, and I had I didn't want a really thick thread to work with, so I had to spin it really fine. It was all grey. And with this, because the colors change so sudden, and yeah, there are so much colors in here. I really wanted to do it a little bit different, so I tried to spin a little bit thicker, which I find really hard. And I also tried to a little bit thick and thin, and yeah, I just let it go a bit. And it was really fun to do, and I'm thinking of leaving it a single because I really love how the color is working out. I was thinking about maybe buy some white fibre and apply it with a really nice thin white thread, but that will I don't know. I think I will first, I have to order because I don't have any fibre left over, and I just really like how the color is looking on its own. So I think I will just leave it a single and knit something out of it. We will see. I still have quite some fibre to go, so we will see how much meter I end up with and what I will do with it. But it was really a fun experience. I did quite some weaving, which I'm not going to show because it looks exactly the same to you as it did the last time, because it's still on the loom and you still see the orange and black threads, and so there's not much to see there. I think I'm almost finished. There are, I think maybe there's 1.5 meter left, and that means I've already spun. I've already left 3.5 meters, so that's going quite fast. I enjoy the speed of that craft. And once it's off the loom, we will see how good a job I did the first time. But it's a bit wonky here and there, like the sides are going in and out because I'm learning how to tension the thread at the sides. And sometimes I noticed it was leaning one way or the other, and I tried to make it straight again. So it's not perfect, but I really love doing it, and we will see what the final fabric will end up to be. So that's something I have been working on, and I started something completely new, which I haven't talked about, just not ever. And the reason I started this is because I was clearing up my craft stuff, and I came over a lot of leftover bits of fabric which I didn't want to throw away. I don't like throwing away fabrics and stuff. So I came over a lot of leftover fabrics, and I was thinking about the use of it, and then I saw someone, I don't know who, but someone on Instagram was doing English paper piecing, and it sounds like something with paper, and I saw it and it really looked really nice, but it also looked like fabric to me. So I dived into what it is and how you do it and those things, and it turned out to be a technique of quilting which can use up a lot of scraps. So I did a really little part, only 3 blocks, but I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I think I will continue doing this. What you do with English paper piecing, and there are lots of ways to do it, but the basic is the same. You have a piece of paper and you put a piece of fabric onto it, you fold over the sides and you make the sides stay that way, and then once you have those pieces you can sew them together, and you do it all by hand. Let me see if I can show you a scene. I don't know if you can see it, but I hope you can. I've never really sewn anything in this way by hand. I do sometimes repair like stuffed animals for my children with needle and thread, but it's always like winging it. I just do something. But at this time I really looked at how I should do it, and I really enjoy hand stitching, I noticed, which I couldn't have told up front. I think I wouldn't. I don't know. I do have patience, and I do a lot of crafting that needs patience, but it looked so fiddly. But I really like doing it, it seems. So there are a lot of ways to do this. One thing is I cut out my own pieces of paper out of a old magazine, and that's the way they used to do that, because it's quite an old technique. I think somewhere around 1800, a little before or after, somewhere around there, they found the first proof of this craft. Maybe they've done it a longer time, but there's no proof of that. But somewhere around that time they did this technique, and paper was quite a expensive material back then, so they reused the paper out of newspapers or other things they didn't need anymore. And nowadays you can buy pieces made to size, especially for this type of crafting, but I found it a little bit wasteful. I think it's really easy, and if you don't have the patience, or you want to make something a little bit quicker, it can be really easy to just buy the paper pieces ready for use. But I was cleaning up and throwing away stuff, and there was some paper. There was an old magazine there that I didn't have any use for, so I was like, I'm just going to cut out those shapes. This is the traditional shape used. It's a 6-sided piece, so it's a hexagon, and they are quite easy to construct. You just make a circle, and I don't know if you did it when you were at high school, but when you have like a compass and you make a circle and you put your compass on the edge and you make a circle and you put your compass on the intersections again, you get like a 6-petaled flower. I really liked doing that when I was younger, but when you connect the points of this flower you get a perfect hexagon, so it's quite easy to construct. You can watch videos where they do that as well. So I just draw out a hexagon in the size I liked, and I had a blade especially for paper cutting, and I just cut a few out. Then the next thing that you can choose to do or not is how you fix the fabric around your paper square. And nowadays you can buy special dissolvable glue, and there are people that put a little glue on the paper and just put it on there so it won't shift around. But there are also people that are using the glue at the edges so they can just fold the fabric around it, which is a quick method to make those pieces. But I was like, okay, so I'm using old paper, just like they did back then when it started. I'm using scraps of fabric, which I suppose they didn't cut up good fabric for making small pieces back then. I think it was something they did with their scraps. Why should I buy a special glue just because I want to be quick and glue this in the right shape? So what I did, I stitched the outside, and you can do it in a few different ways. You can go through the paper and through your fabric and just base stitching it on. What I did is I secured an edge with a few stitches, and then I will go to the next corner and secure that with a few stitches. So the paper is trapped in here, but it is not attached to the fabric in any way. If you find that a little bit too fiddly, you can always use like a pin and just put it through the paper and your fabric and then stitch around, because it's just the glue, like the method where they put the glue just to hold it in place, is basically the same as putting a pin through there. I just keep it in place with my hands and it's working out fine. But yeah, and then you put two squares on top of each other and you stitch through this edge. Because the paper is in between, you really have a nice crisp line where you can sew against. So that's how this is working, and I really like doing it. It's really portable, which I really like, because most of the sewing things I always do at my machine, and my machine is not that portable, it's quite heavy. So I like that I can take this around with me, and I'm very happy that I have use of my scraps. Of course I need to cut out these shapes, but they don't have to be exact. Just they need to be bigger at all sides than my piece of paper, so I can fold it around. But that's the only thing that that needs to happen, and those are quite small pieces of fabric, so I can use a lot of my scraps of fabric to make those squares. And of course I have more left over little bits and pieces, but that will go to recycling, I think. And I think I've got most out of those fabrics that I can do. So, and there are just really little corners that I can't use anymore, but most of it I can still use. So that's really, really nice. And I'm really enjoying it. So I'm a little bit thinking about how to, this is just 3 pieces sewn together to watch if to find out if I like it, which I do now. So now I have to think about how I am going to continue this, because I have lots of different pieces of fabric, different patterns, different colors, and I don't know how put together I want it to be. So maybe I will just first make a bunch of hexagons and then find out how to put them together. But it's also really fun to make a hexagon and just attach it. So I'm thinking about how I'm going to do that. I think the risk doing it that way is that you get a lot of the same fabrics in one spot and then a lot of different colored or cut pieces in another part, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. But yeah, it's really fun, and I have to think about how big I'm going to make it, because it's something fun you can just do and add and not think about it. But I think it would be nice to have like an angle, like you can make a really big quilt, but it will take a really long time. But you can also make like a pillowcase or something like that. So I'll have to think about that as well. But I'm really happy that I found that Instagram post and that it put my attention to this. Once you have one hexagon filled around, you can leave in the paper as long as you like, but once you have connected them all sides, you can take out the paper and reuse it. So it's not like I need to cut up a complete magazine to make all those bits. You can just have a few. I don't know how many I have, but I think this little pile is more than enough to be able to continue this, and I think I'm going to take them out once they are connected at all sides. So yeah, something completely unexpected and something completely different, but I really, really like it. So let's see. Normally after the things I have done, I talk a little bit about the plans I have for my crafting. I really want to knit on my flax light now. It's been a little bit in hibernation, but I really want the sweater to be finished, so that's something that will need my focus at the moment. My weaving is near to completion, so I think my focus will be there as well. Once you start spinning, you just want to finish it. In my case, that's most of the times the thing, and I want to keep it kind of the same thick and thin structure, so I think it would be a good idea to just finish the spinning as well, because when I put my wheel away and start the spinning again after a few weeks of not spinning, I don't know if I will get the same structure of yarn, so that's something. I need to finish the little rabbit, so those are quite some things that need to be done. They don't need to be done, but that I want to finish, so I think that will just take up a lot of the time I have, but I have a few things that I want to do in the near future, so maybe not for the next podcast, but maybe the one after that. And I really want to sew another jumpsuit. The fabric is already washed. I only need to vacuum clean my floor to lay the fabric out and just make some time for that. I also am thinking about some hand-spun yarns I have laying around that I don't really have a use for, and I think it would be really fun to weave with them. So that's something I have my eye on. And I want to dive into my whip basket because it's standing just over here, and just by looking at it there are some things that just needs some more love and attention, like for instance the Hug Me Later shawl by Arne Carlos still needs to be rafted together, and there are some socks in here that really can use some attention, and also my pie shawl has not seen that much love the last few weeks. So I think with everything I see around me over here, I have enough things to do, and I don't think there will be any new big projects started just now. Maybe the grey handspun I did, maybe I will swatch with that so I can figure out which pattern I'm going to knit out of that. But yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about. I hope you enjoyed watching. There is another video coming up, and I know I've talked a few weeks about it, but I'm nearly done now. I think I have all the pieces of filming done, so it's only the editing that's most of the times that takes up the most time. But there's coming another video about swatching and gauge, which are two things related but not the same. So I hope that's something you will look forward to, and I will say goodbye and see you next time.